Hello and welcome back to the Joyful Soul Creates. Charlotte here, and today I am part of a collaboration called Same Set Syndrome, and we are working with Joy Clair Stamps this month, and I have the brand new A Little Wine stamp set to work with. I already have the images stamped out, so I'm just going to start with very quickly colouring them. I am going to speed through this really quickly because it's not the main focus of this video. I want to show you a foiling technique later in the video, so I just wanted to get this colouring really quickly. I'm using Spectrum Noir Illustrator markers for my colouring, and I'm just going to colour the cat image and the mouse image in greys because I want to keep them fairly neutral as the foil elements on the card are going to be rather bright. You can see the caps on screen for the colours I have used, and I am colouring as I usually do, as if my light source is coming from the top right hand side of the image. I did use my darkest grey to add some extra detail onto the cat, just to give him some kind of tabby stripes. And then I'm going to use some ivory shades to colour in the white areas just to add some shade there and give it a bit more dimension. I did miss the end of his tail, so I went back in and added that as well. And when colouring white areas, you do want to use your blender as your lightest shade, so to say, just to blend that out to the white nicely. I used a touch of pink on the pads of his feet and his ears, and then I went over the ears in my lightest grey just to knock the brightness back a bit. And I will colour the wine glass and also the bubbles, although I end up not using them later, with a very light blue. The drink in the wine glass does not need to be coloured because we are going to be foiling that. For the little mouse, I'm again going to use my pinks for the tail, and then I'm going to use this time blue grey for colouring the mouse. I used brown greys for the cat, but I thought the blue greys would work nicely on the mouse because I'm going to be using a kind of yellowy foil, and blue and yellow are complementary. So I thought that would be a good option there. I did use my ice grey for the lightest colour just because that's the lightest grey I have. And again, I'll put that very light blue just to add some shading to the glass. And here you can see both of the images all coloured up. Now we're going to move on to adding a little foil to the images. You want some glue here that will dry tacky. So here are some options that I have. I'm going to be using the Zig two-way glue pen for this part. And I'm just colouring in the liquid in the glasses with that glue pen, just to fill it in with the glue. I did the cat one first, and then I'll move on and do the same with the mouse one. I did try not to go over the outer lines of the liquid, but it doesn't really matter that much if you do, because the effect of the foiling is quite striking, so I think anyone will overlook that kind of mistake. Once I'd let it dry a little to get nice and tacky, which didn't take long because it's very warm in my craft room and it's only a very small amount of glue, I pressed my foil into it. I chose a red foil for the cat and a kind of yellowy green foil for the mouse. You just need to press it onto the glue, rub it well, and then when you peel it back, you'll have a nice foiled alcohol. Here you can see how those both look finished. Then I'm going to quickly fussy cut them out before I do the rest of my foiling. I'm using my Tim Holtz snips for this, and I'm just going to very quickly go around all the edges. I'm cutting right up to the black line because I don't want a white border around this. And where it gets a bit fiddly, I do like to use my craft knife sometimes just to help out. When using the scissors to fussy cut, you do want to move your paper, not your scissors. That just makes it easier to get a smooth cut. And as I said, I will skip through this very quickly because it's all just the same thing. So moving on, once all the images are fussy cut out, I'm going to go around the edge with a brush tip water-based marker in black. This will just hide the white core where it's being cut out and just makes the images look a bit more finished and a bit more professional almost. My camera didn't seem to want to focus in quite the right place when I was doing this, but you can get the idea. It seemed to be more interested on focusing on that little cat in the background. And now we're moving on to what's kind of the main focus of this video, which is showing you how to foil through a stencil without a laminator. You did in a way get a sneak peek of this with the foiling on the images because it's all about using glue. This time I'm using the Tombow Mono Multi liquid glue, and I just have a very cheap makeup sponge, and I'm putting the glue onto the makeup sponge and dabbing it through the stencil. If you don't have this kind of cheap makeup sponge, you can use kitchen towel, kitchen paper. I did that once before when I couldn't find my makeup sponges, and it works as well, but I think it absorbed more of the glue, so it probably wasted a bit more than using the sponges does. The stencil I used for this technique was the Art Splatters stencil from STAMPlorations. And after we've stenciled on the glue, again, as we did with the images, we want to let it dry to a tacky state. And again, this should be quite quick because the glue layer is quite thin. Then we'll take our foil and just place it over top of the areas that we applied the glue to and gently rub it in with our finger. And then when you lift it up, it's nice and foiled. If you have any areas that the foil ends up that you didn't want it to, then it's very easy to get that back off. Just with a sand razor, gently rub over it and it will lift that foil back up. For assembling my finished cards, I have taken a couple of the sentiments that came in the stamp set. For the little mouse card, I have the one that says "Wine Not," and I just kind of fussy cut around that. I think I had someone call this a bubble cut, where you cut around it like this. And then I'm going to pop up that and my images on foam tape. For the cat, I have a longer sentiment, and again I'm going to adhere it with foam tape. I did get a bit of cat hair stuck behind that, but I was able to pull that off with my reverse tweezers. So this sentiment says, "We heard you were celebrating." Well, maybe celebrating isn't exactly the right word, and I thought that was quite amusing to go with this image. I cut that into a strip and just put an angle on the end of the sentiment strip. Popped that up on foam tape on my card base. And then I'm going to pop up the cat as well, as if he is just sitting on the top of that sentiment strip. And once I have him in place, that will complete both of my cards. This is part of a hop, so do check out the link below to find the next person in the hop. We have 4 different stamp sets we're showing between us. I have the brand new A Little Wine stamp set here. There's 1 other brand new stamp set and 2 already released stamp sets. I think there's 20 of us, 5 per stamp set, so lots of great examples for you to check out. If you enjoyed watching my video with this fun foiling technique, do press the thumbs up button. All the products I've used are linked in the description box below with the information for the next stop on the hop. Remember to leave a comment if you'd like to be in for a chance to win a prize. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, you can do that by pressing the button that's showing on screen now. Otherwise, I'll thank you very much for watching and see you in the next video. Bye!